Hello everyone. Have you ever wondered how the real lives of the famous Twilight cast have changed since the dazzling spotlight of 2008? They were once young, promising faces known all over the world, but 17 years later, the stories behind the fame are far more complicated than we imagined. Some rose to brilliant success, while others faced hardships, ups and downs, and heartbreaking losses that few know about. In today's video, we'll explore the untold stories about the careers and lives of each Twilight cast member. If you're a fan, leave a 1 in the comments. If not, type 0. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss our upcoming exciting videos. Let's dive in and start exploring right now. In the dangerous world of Twilight, Tyler Crowley is the reckless high school student who nearly hit Bella with his truck right before Edward appeared like a lightning bolt to save her. It was a brief, shocking, and unforgettable moment. For Gregory Tyree Boyce, the 18-year-old at the time, this role seemed like a gateway to a bright future in Hollywood. But when the spotlight faded, harsh reality began to show. Casting calls stopped coming. Opportunities slipped away while co-stars like Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart continued to succeed with new projects like Remember Me and The Runaways. Meanwhile, Gregory's career stalled. Each lost role felt like a knife stabbing deep into Gregory's heart, gradually extinguishing the light of hope within him. The promises of fame slowly turned into a cruel joke, leaving him exhausted and discouraged. However, instead of giving up, Gregory chose to leave Hollywood and move to Las Vegas to start a new chapter in his life. There, he opened a fried chicken restaurant called West Wings, hoping to find joy and stability again. At the same time, he always tried to fulfill his responsibilities as a father to his young daughter, Aaliyah, his greatest source of motivation. Yet financial pressure and continuous disappointments weighed heavily on his spirits. Still deep down, Gregory kept a flame of hope alive, never giving up on his dreams. The new life brought many challenges, but he persevered with a strong will. This is a story about resilience and the power of unwavering determination in the face of adversity. Gregory was on a journey to find himself again, even though the road ahead was filled with hardships. Parties and drugs gradually became a temporary escape from the feeling of failure. Those close to him recalled that he always felt guilty for not being able to devote enough time to his daughter, and depression trapped him in an endless cycle. On May 13, 2020, at the age of 30, Gregory and his girlfriend Natalie Adepoju were found dead from a drug overdose caused by a combination of cocaine and fentanyl. At that time, his estate was estimated to be worth around $500,000, mostly tied to his house in Las Vegas, a Dodge Charger, and his chicken restaurant. Gregory's death serves as a bitter reminder fame can come quickly, but not everyone is lucky or supported enough to hold on to it. Without sharp fangs or fearsome claws, Billy Black is still a powerful character in Twilight. His calm but strong warnings make him a steadfast spiritual pillar for the Quileute tribe. When Gil Birmingham took on the role of Billy, he was 54 years old, an age when many actors might have stepped back from the spotlight. Yet he brought an astonishing dignity and depth to the character. The journey to this role was far from easy. As a Native American actor, Gil faced discrimination and typecasting in Hollywood, often limited to minor roles or stereotypical characters. Despite appearing in critically acclaimed works like Into the West and Comanche Moon, he was frequently overlooked. Twilight was like a brilliant light guiding Gil onto Hollywood's main stage, but at the same time it also exposed the clear barriers and limitations the industry places on native actors like him. Beyond the sparkling glamour, Gil quietly faced difficult and challenging internal battles. His childhood was far from perfect or peaceful. Growing up in a family with a strict military father, he often felt lost and disconnected from his roots and the cultural identity he carried within. Throughout his adult life, Gil never married or had children, and above all, he endured persistent back pain caused by a serious injury. These challenges shaped a journey full of hardships, but they also forged the strength and resilience within him. Despite everything, he remained dedicated to his craft. Outstanding performances in Hell or High Water and the hit series Yellowstone proved that his talent was on par with anyone. Now at 72 years old, Gil Birmingham lives quietly in Los Angeles, in a home worth around $1.5 million, surrounded by Native American artworks as a way to preserve culture and memory. His estimated net worth is about $2.5 million accumulated from decades of supporting roles, a testament to his persistence and relentless dedication. Edward Cullen, an immortal vampire torn between love and bloodlust. He is a protector who carries both romance and danger in every glance. In 2008, the young Robert Pattinson, just 21 years old, fully embodied this mysterious Edward, and that role launched him into a whirlwind of fame he never truly escaped. Before that, Pattinson had made a mark in Harry Potter as Cedric Diggory, but it was Twilight that catapulted him to worldwide stardom. However, the price of fame was steep. Immediately, he became a target for the press swarmed by paparazzi crowds and forever labeled as the sparkling vampire throughout his career. Despite his fame as Edward Cullen in Twilight, Pattinson continuously challenged himself with diverse roles in films like Remember Me and Water for Elephants, striving to prove his acting ability. However, public opinion and critics never stopped weighing him against the Edward Cullen image, placing immense pressure on his shoulders. At times, Pattinson candidly shared that he questioned whether the acting path was worth the sacrifices and losses he was enduring. His personal life was no stranger to pain, either as his relationship with artist FKA Twigs, once hoped to be lasting, ended in a painful breakup. Even more sadly, they faced vicious attacks, some laced with racial prejudice from extremist groups, leaving deep scars on Pattinson's heart. All of this shaped a challenging journey where the spotlight couldn't fully mask the darker corners of his life. Then in 2017, another shock hit. His close friend took their own life. This loss plunged Pattinson into severe depression. While filming in Australia, he collapsed under anxiety attacks, what he later described as the darkest period of my life. Saying no to Hollywood parties was no longer a choice, but a means of survival. Today, at 39, Robert Pattinson leads a private life with his girlfriend model and singer Suki Waterhouse. He chooses creativity over chasing fame. Owning a classic home in London and driving vintage cars like Jaguars and Aston Martins, Pattinson's net worth is now estimated around $100 million, built from blockbuster films like The Lighthouse Tenet and The Batman. In the turbulent and chaotic world of Twilight, Charlie Swan stands out as a quiet yet profound man, leaving audiences with a deep sense of the boundless love he has for his daughter Bella. With a style blending coldness and subtle humor, actor Billy Burke, then 41 years old, successfully portrayed the small-town father, a steady anchor amid the supernatural storms full of danger. However, behind the spotlight and the big screen, Burke's acting career unfolded quietly, lacking major breakthroughs for many years. Before venturing into film music was his first passionate love, but due to the pressures of making a living and life's demands, he was forced to shift his path toward acting, where he gradually carved out his place through each role. Twilight brought Billy Burke widespread public recognition, but that joy came quite late and felt somewhat incomplete to him. Despite appearing in numerous roles in films like Drive Angry and the series Revolution, Burke still hadn't risen to the A-list stardom he once hoped for. Alongside a career that hadn't fully met his expectations, his personal life gradually grew heavier and more complicated. His marriage to actress Pollyanna Rose quietly ended mainly due to the pressures of a demanding and stressful work schedule. This led to increasing distance from his young daughter Bluesy Lily, a pain he openly expressed with deep regret in rare interviews revealing a poignant hidden side of the actor's life. In 2015, a car accident worsened his chronic back pain more than ever before. At the same time, he turned to alcohol as a way to cope with depression. Earlier in the early 2000s, a failed investment in music nearly drove him to bankruptcy. Now, at 58 years old, Billy Burke lives quietly in Los Angeles, spending time writing music and undergoing therapy to heal past wounds. He owns a modern $3 million home, drives a sleek black Maserati, and has a net worth of around $5 million, testaments to his resilience in overcoming hardships. Bella Swan, the seemingly fragile and clumsy girl who possesses a quiet strength and courage that draws audiences into a supernatural world full of wonder and enchantment. In 2008, at just 17 years old, Kristen Stewart took on the role of Bella in the blockbuster Twilight, delivering a natural and genuine performance that quickly made her an icon for a young generation. However, this massive success also brought its own challenges. The image of Bella in Twilight unintentionally became a huge shadow, making it difficult for Kristen to break free from the role. Although she later took on projects like The Runaways and Adventureland, she was still labeled by the media and audiences as the Twilight leading lady, limiting the diversity of her acting career. In 2012, the scandal involving Kristen Stewart and director Rupert Sanders while she was still dating Robert Pattinson exploded like a media bomb, nearly destroying her rising career. Following that, Stewart endured years haunted by chronic insomnia, panic attacks, and intense pressure from public scrutiny. She became the target of harsh criticism, ridicule, and relentless judgment from the public. Kristen's inner battles didn't just begin with Twilight. They continued and deepened over time, becoming darker and more intense, forcing her to face the greatest challenges of her life and career. In 2018, she faced another breakdown, this time due to the drug overdose death of a close friend. This loss pushed Kristen into therapy, and she began turning to writing as a means of healing. She gradually accepted and openly embraced her gender identity, finding love with screenwriter Dylan Meyer. However, in a candid interview, Kristen admitted that she is afraid of becoming a mother, haunted by childhood memories of emotional disconnect that still linger. For a time, smoking and self-isolation were her ways of coping with stress. But through meditation and embracing artistic risks in her acting, she slowly began to regain her strength. At 35 years old, Kristen Stewart is currently balancing her time between independent artistic films and major commercial projects. She is gradually redefining her image, not just the Twilight girl of the past, but a true artist ready to explore the psychological depth and hidden facets of every character she portrays. Her current life is fairly peaceful and sophisticated, with a modern home in Los Angeles and a luxurious Porsche Taycan as her companion on the road. Kristen's net worth is estimated to be around $70 million, largely earned from global brand endorsements and critically acclaimed roles, especially her performance in Spencer, which solidified her standing in the film industry. In the Twilight film, Dr. Carlisle Cullen is not only the head of the vampire family, but also an exemplary father, a guiding figure with a warm heart and profound wisdom. At 34 years old, Peter Facinelli successfully portrayed Carlisle with calmness, morality, and a strong sense of responsibility, becoming an ideal symbol not only within the supernatural world, but also in the eyes of the audience. This role elevated Facinelli's name to international fame, opening many new career opportunities. However, few know that behind the screen spotlight, his personal life went through many challenges and storms that the public never saw. Before stepping into the role of Carlisle Cullen in Twilight, Peter Facinelli was already a familiar face on both television and film, with roles in shows like Fastlane and movies like Can't Hardly Wait. However, it was the role of Carlisle that truly catapulted him to global stardom. Despite his success, Facinelli faced major personal shocks. In 2013, his marriage of over a decade to actress Jenny Garth officially ended following emotional distance and career-related conflicts that couldn't be reconciled. 3 years later, he faced the painful loss of his mother, which led him to temporarily step back from work to focus on caring for and nurturing his beloved family. Just when things seemed stable in 2019, Peter Facinelli was suddenly caught in a major scandal when a series of his private messages were leaked online, severely damaging his image and plunging him into a deep mental crisis. Years of relentless work led to burnout, forcing him to seek new balance through meditation and artistic creation. Now at 51, Facinelli has shifted his career focus to screenwriting and directing, choosing a slower pace of life with clearer goals. He owns a $4 million villa in Hollywood Hills, is often seen driving a luxurious Audi R8, and has an estimated net worth of around $10 million. Esme Cullen, the gentle mother amid a cold vampire world. Her unconditional love and forgiving nature became the glue that held the Cullen family together. In 2008, when participating in Twilight, Elizabeth Reeser was only 32 years old. She brought to the character of Esme a rare emotional depth, allowing the audience to feel maternal love even within a supernatural family. But behind that gentle smile was a woman carrying many burdens. Before Twilight, Elizabeth had been highly praised for her roles on television and stage. However, after the film series, she became typecast as the nurturing mother figure, making it harder for her to take on different roles. Although Elizabeth Reeser has appeared in critically acclaimed projects like The Haunting of Hill House and The Handmaid's Tale, Hollywood still seems to struggle to fully utilize her multifaceted talent, an actress who embodies both fragility and a unique inner strength. Audiences know her best as Esme Cullen, but few realize that Elizabeth has gone through challenging times when opportunities kept closing because she was boxed into a single image. Her personal life, despite portraying a gentle mother on screen, is far from the calm and easygoing story people might imagine. Have you ever felt boxed in by a particular role or identity? If yes, drop a 2 in the comments. If not, type 5. Don't forget to enjoy the video and leave a sub to support our channel. Share your story with us below. In 2012, a long-term relationship with a writer ended due to betrayal. The shock shattered Elizabeth's faith in love. She openly admitted that she had never felt safe enough to start a family. It was a silent regret she never voiced. Around the same time, another major crisis struck. Her father suffered a stroke in 2010. Elizabeth had to muster all her strength to care for him, juggling hospital visits and film sets. The heavy pressure led to panic attacks, exhaustion, and depression. Today, at 50 years old, Elizabeth Reeser no longer chases Hollywood's spotlight. She spends her time acting in independent films, undergoing therapy, and mentoring young female directors. She lives in a well-appointed home in Los Angeles, drives a luxury sedan, and has an estimated net worth of about $6 million earned from acting fees and sustainable artistic investments. In Twilight, Mr. Molina, the cheerful science teacher, is not a main character. Yet audiences remember him for the warmth and authenticity that actor Jose Zuniga brought to the role. When filming, he was 45 years old, a familiar face with dozens of supporting roles in major films like Mission Impossible 3: Con Air and popular TV series such as Grey's Anatomy and NCIS. However, for decades, Jose remained stuck in the cycle of supporting roles, steady work, but never a breakthrough. Off-screen, he carried many silent wounds. A bitter divorce in the late 1990s caused him to become estranged from his daughter, something he has tearfully admitted is something he can never forgive himself for. In 2015, a devastating shock struck when Jose's younger brother tragically passed away in a car accident. The pain of that loss plunged him into a deep depression, compounded by the guilt of not being there for his loved one at the most critical moment. His habits of smoking and overworking weakened his health, especially his heart, forcing him to change his lifestyle. Now at 63, Jose has chosen a simple life in Los Angeles, spending his time teaching acting, running workshops, and inspiring the younger generation. He owns a cozy little home, drives a fuel-efficient hybrid SUV, and has amassed a net worth of around $2 million, a result of decades of dedicated work in a quiet but meaningful career. Jacob Black, Bella's childhood best friend, is not only known for the extraordinary strength of a werewolf, but also as a symbol of a warm heart always caught between the delicate line of love and loyalty. When Twilight premiered in 2008, Taylor Lautner was only 16 years old, with a slim build. Few could have predicted that by the second installment, New Moon, he would transform into a physique icon with muscular definition and a handsome look that captivated millions worldwide. However, this remarkable transformation became a double-edged sword as Taylor quickly became typecast as the shirtless werewolf. Directors and producers seemed to struggle to see him in any role beyond this image. While Taylor Lautner's co-stars gradually shifted towards art house films to prove their acting chops, he found himself stuck in lightweight roles. The movie Abduction was a box office and critical failure, and his comedic parts in Grown Ups 2 were mercilessly panned by critics. Many doubted Taylor's acting abilities, and on social media mocking and harsh criticisms spread like an epidemic. Not only did he face public ridicule, but he also endured painful betrayal when some of his closest friends sold him out, leaking negative stories to tabloid press, making his career even more difficult and turbulent. Relentless comments about his appearance left Taylor Lautner feeling exhausted, anxious, and deeply hurt. The pressure to maintain the handsome, muscular image once drove him into a severe mental breakdown. At one point, Taylor was forced to take a complete break, stepping away from Hollywood to protect his mental health. By 2025, at 33 years old, he lives a peaceful life with his wife, nurse Taylor Dome, in a luxurious $10 million mansion in Los Angeles. They have chosen not to have children, focusing instead on health and finding tranquility in life. Rather than pushing himself through harsh gym routines, Taylor prefers yoga, meditation, and daily walks. His net worth is currently estimated at around $40 million, mainly from the success of Twilight and major endorsement deals. Alice Cullen, with her signature short hair, bright sparkling eyes, and unique ability to see the future, was a rare light in the dark world of the Cullen family. At 20, Ashley Greene quickly became a sensation, frequently gracing magazine covers and beloved by fans who called her the most popular supporting actress in Twilight. However, behind the dazzling spotlight, Ashley's life was far from easy. Her childhood was overshadowed by a turbulent family. Her father struggled with addiction, while her mother fought hard to keep the household together. Those painful memories made Ashley cautious with her emotions and constantly on guard, finding it difficult to open up to others. Despite being at the peak of her fame, Ashley Greene often chose to hide away from the spotlight. Sudden panic attacks forced her to quietly withdraw from crowds in search of personal peace. Although she continued to act in films like LOL and The Apparition, her career could never quite escape the large shadow cast by the character Alice Cullen. Rejections became a familiar experience, but each one still tightened her heart with pain. Ashley's private life was also filled with challenges, as she and her husband Paul Corey endured multiple miscarriages, silent losses that few knew about. By 2023, Ashley Greene's marriage quietly came to an end, marking a chapter closed with deep regret in her life. Although the couple later welcomed their daughter Elo via surrogacy, the scars of the past still lingered in her heart. Ashley found light and peace through therapy, learning to breathe deeply, let go of burdens, and live fully in the present. By 2025, at 38 years old, she chose a minimalist lifestyle in a home in Los Angeles, often driving a white Lexus and dedicating her time to healthcare charity work and raising her young daughter. While her net worth is estimated around $8 million, her true value lies in the strength to overcome years of pain and the journey to find herself. Although audiences adored Jackson Rathbone as Jasper Hale, the stoic warrior with deeply sorrowful eyes for him, that spotlight couldn't satisfy the fierce creative passion inside. After Twilight, Jackson poured his heart into his band 100 Monkeys, touring relentlessly, but the nomadic life on the road was far from easy. In 2014, a horrific emergency landing left him with severe PTSD, deeply affecting his mental health. Even more painful was the death of a close friend during the tour, which intensified Jackson's grief and created challenges he has had to face for many years. Although he appeared in films like The Last Airbender and the condemned Jackson Rathbone, still faced harsh criticism and box office failures, deeply wounding his confidence. At home, his marriage to Sheila Hafsadi in 2013 and their 3 children provided him with much-needed stability, but the constant traveling demanded by his career posed significant challenges to their family life. Gradually, Jackson became more withdrawn, avoiding the spotlight and public attention, especially as the painful memories of the emergency landing continued to haunt his mind. Therapy became a guiding light, helping him learn to transform his pain into art through smaller roles filled with depth and emotion. By 2025, at 40 years old, Jackson Rathbone chose a peaceful life in Los Angeles alongside his beloved family. He owns a modern-style home with a private recording studio to pursue his passion for music and is an avid collector of vintage Porsche cars. With an estimated net worth of around $7 million, Jackson no longer aims to chase global fame as he once did. Instead, he finds true healing and joy in the embrace of his family and in every piece of art he creates, reflecting an inspiring journey of growth and maturity. Rosalie Hale, with her flawless beauty and elegant, cold demeanor, symbolizes a story filled with hidden tragedy. Nikki Reed, who portrayed Rosalie, has also endured wounds and hardships as profound as her characters. She rose to fame at a very young age thanks to the film 13, a powerful and raw depiction of violent teenage rebellion. What makes 13 special is that it's not just a movie, but a vivid reflection of Nikki's own turbulent life and challenges during her youth. Despite achieving early success, Nikki found herself boxed into the image of the beautiful, rebellious girl, a shadow she struggled to break free from. This image was both a strength that helped Nikki leave a lasting impression on audiences and a barrier that brought significant pressure and prejudice to her career and personal life. Twilight brought new spotlight, but it also continued to confine her to beautiful but cold roles. Her private life was no smoother. Her parents' divorce and her teenage struggles with rehab are parts of her past she always tried to hide. Even her marriage to actor Ian Somerhalder was short-lived. Distance-differing life goals and work pressures gradually drove a wedge between them. Although they had a lovely daughter named Bodhi, Nikki Reed openly shared that their relationship always lacked deep connection and genuine emotion. However, Nikki refused to let her past hold her back and chose to take a completely new path, focusing on sustainable values, environmental protection, and developing her art in her own way. At 37, she enjoys a peaceful life in a modern, eco-friendly home in Los Angeles, frequently driving a hybrid car that's kind to the environment. She also owns a substantial net worth of around $12 million, accumulated from her successful acting career, creative business ventures, and community and environmental activism. Nikki Reed stands as a living testament to turning painful experiences into meaningful action, inspiring many others along the way. Emmett Cullen, the big brother with a towering physique, a humorous personality, and a constant source of joy and security within the vampire family, was perfectly portrayed by Kellen Lutz, with a bright smile and a muscular, strong body, creating an image both lovable and powerful. However, off-screen, that strength wasn't always enough to help him overcome life's challenges. After the success of Twilight, Kellen continued to land roles in blockbusters like Immortals and The Legend of Hercules. But unfortunately, both films failed at the box office and received poor reviews from critics, causing significant difficulties in his career. Kellen Lutz was once labeled by Hollywood as a model-turned-actor, causing him to gradually lose the trust of producers and directors. But his greatest pain didn't stop there. In 2020, Kellen and his wife, Brittany Gonzalez, endured a devastating shock when they lost their child in a late-stage miscarriage. This unbearable loss almost drove their marriage to the brink. Although they were later blessed with the birth of a daughter, the wound in Kellen's heart remains never fading. Earlier in life, Kellen nearly became a pastor, but family conflicts and struggles with faith plunged him into a deep personal crisis. He was used to pushing himself to the point of exhaustion until his body could no longer take it and forced him to pause in order to find balance again. Kellen Lutz was once seen by Hollywood as a model-turned-actor, which gradually led to some loss of confidence from producers and directors. However, his greatest challenges came off-screen. In 2020, Kellen and his wife, Brittany Gonzalez, faced the heartbreaking loss of a child late in pregnancy, a deeply painful experience that put a strain on their marriage. Though they were later blessed with the birth of a daughter, the memory of that loss still lingers in Kellen's heart. Earlier in life, he nearly pursued becoming a pastor, but family struggles and questions of faith led him through a difficult personal journey. Known for pushing himself hard, Kellen eventually reached a point where his body demanded a pause, prompting him to seek balance and healing. Jessica Stanley, the talkative and genuinely honest girlfriend in Twilight, was brought to life vividly by Anna Kendrick, despite only appearing in a few brief scenes. Thanks to this role, her career quickly skyrocketed, surpassing many other supporting stars in the film. From her memorable performance in Up in the Air, which earned her an Oscar nomination, to the massive success of Pitch Perfect, a global phenomenon, Anna Kendrick rapidly became a box office queen, beloved by audiences everywhere. However, behind the dazzling spotlight, Anna carried a weary and exhausted soul, facing pressures and challenges that few could see. The fast-paced life in Hollywood, combined with the pressure to maintain a relatable and likable image, has placed an enormous mental burden on Anna Kendrick's shoulders. The continuous influx of comedy projects has pushed her into a state of depression, panic, and constant self-doubt. Anna's personal life has been far from smooth as well, having endured a long-term relationship marked by emotional abuse, shattering her trust. On top of that, a quietly ended engagement left deep cracks in her already fragile heart. Moreover, a tense relationship with her father, who has always opposed her career, has made Anna feel utterly alone even while standing at the peak of fame. In the face of all these challenges, she chose the path of therapy, dedicating time to writing and embracing silence, to find peace for her soul. By 2025, at the age of 40, Anna Kendrick opted for a peaceful life in Los Angeles, where she became more selective about choosing roles that suited her. She lives in a modern, luxurious home and often drives a Porsche Taycan, reflecting her dynamic and contemporary lifestyle. Her net worth is estimated to be around $20 million accumulated from her film career, published books, and songwriting royalties. Today, Anna is not only a talented actress, but also an artist who knows how to transform past pain into abundant inspiration, living authentically and savoring every moment of life. Angela Weber is not the central character, but she is always a quiet pillar of support, a trusted friend who helps Bella maintain peace amid the chaos of youth. At 17, Christian Serratos perfectly conveyed that warmth and gentleness in her role, leaving a lasting impression on the audience. From Twilight, she quickly expanded her career with the role of Rosita in The Walking Dead, a strong, resilient warrior in a world overrun by a zombie apocalypse. However, behind that spotlight, Christian also faced her own challenges and pressures that not everyone could see. Success comes with a price, and her journey was not always paved with roses. A demanding filming schedule and the pressures of social media left Christian Serratos utterly exhausted, even though outwardly she was admired and celebrated as a shining star. The silent feelings of emptiness and fatigue gradually took over her soul, forcing her to battle with herself every day. But the greatest pain didn't come from the spotlight or fame, it came from her personal life after giving birth to her daughter, Wolfgang. Christian went through severe postpartum depression, a harsh psychological challenge that stripped away her balance and inner peace. This also caused a serious rift in her relationship with her boyfriend, musician David Boyd, and eventually they parted ways. Though they never married, they were once a real family, sharing deeply happy and meaningful moments together. Christian Serratos faced many challenges stepping into life as a single mother, while also dealing with prolonged conflicts with her own mother over her right to make decisions in her life. By 2025, at the age of 35, she chose a simple life in a small home in Los Angeles, often driving a Toyota SUV and dedicating herself fully to her daughter and her own health rather than chasing fame. Her net worth is currently estimated at around $3 million, primarily from the success of The Walking Dead and carefully selected artistic projects. For Christian, there is no longer a need to race after fame, because living authentically and fulfilling her role as a mother has become the most important thing in her life. Mike Newton. The awkward schoolboy always stumbling around Bella is the character who keeps a touch of everyday life alive in the supernatural world of Twilight. At age 20, Michael Welch brought to life the shy, honest, and slightly charmingly funny young man. However, after Twilight, his career gradually faded. Although he once caught attention with Joan of Arcadia after the vampire saga ended, Michael slowly disappeared from the spotlight. Post-Twilight, the roles Michael Welch received became smaller, less memorable, and easily forgotten. The dream of becoming a true leading man, the one who drives the story on screen, slipped further and further out of reach. Disappointment gradually built up inside Michael, pulling him into self-destructive habits rather than healing. Behind the sparkling spotlight, his personal life grew increasingly dark and lonely. His marriage to Samantha Maggio ended not only due to geographical distance, but also because of his deepening dependence on alcohol. The death of his father was the heaviest emotional shock, plunging Michael into a crisis that led him to undergo rehab, twice experiences that left deep wounds only he could truly feel. Although he has a daughter named June, their relationship remains tense and distant, like a void that can't easily be filled in his life. Michael once candidly shared, "If there's one thing I regret the most, it's not being able to be the father my daughter needed." By 2025, at 38 years old, he no longer holds the star status he once had, but he has found new meaning in life through a different role, teaching acting, sharing his experiences, and taking on small roles as long as his passion for the arts remains. Currently, he lives a peaceful life in Los Angeles in a modest home valued at $700,000, still drives the old car from his Twilight days, and has a net worth of about $1 million, mostly from his earlier years. For Michael, true value no longer lies in the spotlight's glow, but in the ability to help others pursue the dreams that once ignited his own heart. It's been 17 years since Twilight shook a generation, and the cast from back then have all gone their separate ways. Some have reached the heights of fame, some have faded into quiet obscurity, and others have faced loss, addiction, or depression. But no matter what, they are real people, not perfect, not immortal, but resilient as they move forward beyond the spotlight. These stories not only help us look back at them, but also reflect on ourselves, reminding us that behind every success, there are hidden pains. How about you? Which story surprised you the most? Leave a comment below and join us as we continue to explore the untold journeys beyond Hollywood. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a new video. Thank you for watching until the very end. If you found this story meaningful, please share and accompany us on the journeys ahead.